I want to ask Jordan, is there any background to the idea of vampires versus werewolves?
That is in fact a good one. That shows up in the records I've seen at least 3 times, actually. I mean, the most immediate one was actually in the Second World War, when the Nazi werewolf division insisted that the Soviets had deployed vampires against them. But that one, that one we'll put aside on the grounds that Nazi esotericism is a beast all on its own. The other preceding 2 sort of instances are, last time I was on here, I mentioned that werewolfism, as we know it, is sort of rooted in, we think of out-of-body spirit activities. So leave the body, turn into an animal. In the context of Inuit shamanism, the Inuit believed, very similar to the rest of reality, that there were certain malignant spirits that wandered the earth after, like human beings who died and came back to savage the rest of mankind. They had a few. One of them is pretty close to the vampire. Some of the others are like, one is some kind of really Kivitok, some kind of really dark ghost. Then there's the Angiak, which is abortion demons. No better word there. It's if a mother aborts her child, the Inuit believed it returned as a demon to savage the community. Part of the Inuit shaman's duty was to stop this. So yeah, you do in fact see werewolves versus vampires in the Inuit sphere. You also see some of that in Slavic and slightly like Eastern German Europe throughout several different centuries. Last time I was on here, I spoke about the Christian werewolves in the 16th or 17th century. The Russians had similar beliefs involving a figure called the Znachor, who you would hire out to fight vampires. Amongst you could do a whole bunch of other stuff for you, but fighting vampires was on his list, and as like soul travel, he had that ability. So yeah, you do see that in the folkloric record on occasion.
Do we have a moment where I can actually share a map for a second? Let me pull this up. All right, so this is a map. It's done through Google Maps. Someone else generated it. I don't have the name handy, but you can go find it. Simply called European Werewolves and Vampires. And so the area in sort of that burnt orange peach color are the areas where werewolf stories primarily are predominant. The red areas are countries or areas where vampire stories are predominant, and the black is where they overlap pretty much equally. So kind of North and Central Europe, you could definitely get vampires versus werewolves, but kind of South and Eastern is more vampires, and up Scandinavia, Russia, and out in Spain is more werewolves. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and that there might be territory where these things overlap. I don't know.
Yeah. This map's pretty accurate. I've seen stories from some of both in some of the countries where they're not marked, but that's always like tracking folklore is always exceedingly difficult because it's like what survives, right? It's absolutely true that there are whole countries where like folk beliefs just never made it. And then there's also countries where like 90% of the peasantry may have believed in a topic, but we have almost like shadows. Swedish dragon beliefs are like that. In the middle of the 19th century, there was a massive row when this community of peasants insisted that there were dragons molesting the sheep, and the government refused to do anything. That tells us there was probably an older tradition that was probably like more widespread, but it's just very little of it left, right? But yeah, this map, I think, pretty good from what I've seen.
I was just thinking, if we're going to set up a fight, those black countries is going to be where it probably has to happen.
No, yeah, the ones where I've seen it happen in Europe were all in East Europe, like Poland, Russia, Ukraine.